Welcome back to Level Headed Gamer. My name is Joseph, and today I'm going to give you 10 tips from Monster Hunter Rise that you may or may not know. I guarantee you one of them you're not going to know. But without any further ado, let's get into it and let's see what we got here. The first tip I got for you, if you press start and you go into your hunter's notes, you're going to see that every single monster that you have encountered and fought is going to be in the hunter's notes. It's going to give you all the details on these monsters, their ecology, physiology, alignments, and materials that you'll be able to get from these monsters. They'll tell you how to fight the larger monsters and their weaknesses, and if they're weak to bullets or certain status effects, what kind of alignments do the most kind of damage and what they're weak to, versus what kind of materials you'll be able to get from them, whether it's on normal or high rank missions. And this is not something that's new to Monster Hunter Rise, as we've never had this before. We would always have to go online and double check all these little things from people who are experienced in the community, in the Monster Hunter community. But now you don't have to do that anymore. You can go to the hunter's info. Whether it's the small monsters, they'll tell you where they usually roam in which areas, or the bigger monsters where they roam and what's crafting materials. It basically gives you all the possible information. Not to mention, same thing with endemic life. You can go in there and you can see what each of the endemic lives first of all does, and at the same time where you can find it in what areas. But the caveat here, as I mentioned before, is you have to have encountered at least one time for all three of these guys. Now this one I just discovered today. If you go into any level where there's water and you'll see fish jumping out of the water, if there is a monster that you're fighting in the water, just place down a raw meat right next to him and it's going to summon a bunch of fish that's going to attack this particular monster. And I found that to be super cool and useful, especially to do some decent amount of damage actually while you're in these areas. So it's nice to keep raw meat on you all the time. The third tip I got for you is another new feature for Monster Hunter Rise. You can actually filter out in the detailed map. You press start and go to detailed map. If you try to find a specific endemic life or a resource point, you'll be able to do that by filtering out exactly what you need, and you'll know exactly where to go within the map and find the things that you need. So there's no longer any guesswork that needs to be done in Monster Hunter or just plain memory. You have it on you all the time, which again is a nice way to streamline the whole process. The fourth tip is we've all been experimenting with our wire bug and running around on walls, right? But did you know if you hold down the run button, you will actually keep running up, across, or whatever on the wall as long as you have stamina. So if you want to climb up a quick rock, let's say you shoot your wire bug at a rock and you just wasn't enough, just hold on the run button and you'll finish the climb all the way to the top as long as you have the stamina. The fifth tip is anytime you get knocked down by any monster, quickly press ZL and B to jump out of the way and regain your footing very quickly utilizing one of your wire bugs. So you have to make sure you keep one wire bug on you anytime you're finding especially a particularly difficult monster so you can recover very quickly. It's extremely useful, makes the fight so much faster because you can get on your feet and back into action, and at the same time you're not. Tip number 6. Now, if you have especially a heavier weapon that has a very long animation recovery time, let's say you swung your great sword and just stand there until he picks the sword back up, well, actually you can cancel that animation as soon as you finish the attack by rolling and dodging to the sides, forward, doesn't really matter where, but it's much faster and it gets you out of the way of the attack, potential attack, of the monster. And this technique should be familiar to any veteran of Monster Hunter because we didn't always have the wire bug to help us recover or help us get out of the way of the attack. For tip number 7 is, let's say you entered a hunt and you realize, crap, I didn't eat a meal. Well, you can actually eat a meal at the beginning of any camp by just going into your tent and you'll be able to get your meal right then and there. As a matter of fact, if you faint during a mission, you can go back to your camp, go back in the tent and eat another meal to get those boosting effects that potentially can help you win the fight just a little easier. Tip number 8. Now that you've leveled up your Palico and Palamute, you probably have unlocked some skills. Well, you can actually switch out your skills at a buddy board. You'll find that in the buddy plaza or in your house in the Kimura village. And what you can do there is you can equip different skills like attack up or earplugs where the enemy's roars don't affect you, or even if your Palmute or your palico that has healing properties, you'll have even stronger healing properties, just overall improving the usefulness of your buddies. And it's a very crucial thing because you kind of can miss it really quickly in the tutorial stage or forget about it as you level up your palicos. Make sure to do that ever so often as you level them up. Tip number 9. Now, for anybody who's been watching my videos and my Monster Hunter videos knows I've been talking about this and I've been trying to stress this one a lot. But if you're new to the channel, what you got to do is go into the Buddy Plaza and you're going to see this really tall tree. You can actually run up on the side of the tree all the way to the top and you'll find a Cahoot's nest, sorry. And there you'll get free items. They basically recharge every, 3 to 4 quests. And you can get Legani apples actually there, which will be very helpful in the Meowcenaries and the Buddy Expert and the Argosy because they boost up those activities so you can get more resources. The last tip I got here, again, is a little bit more for newcomers of Monster Hunter or for people who probably didn't play the demo very much, is when you actually get to ride one of the monsters, you start wyvern riding. The fastest way to, first of all, get yourself in the proper location to attack after running or after being hit is use a dodge mechanic. So use one of your wire bugs to dodge out of the way. It helps you recover just like you would if you would dodge out of the way after ending your animation, as I was telling you, the animation cancel. Works the same way, and then press attack right away. It gives you a very fast way to, first of all, dodge out of the way of the other monster and then initiate an attack really quickly. And you can string them together and never give a chance to the other monster to ever really attack you. And there you go, guys. Those are my 10 tips, and I try to find ones that were less known or less talked about from other videos. So I've watched a bunch of different people's tips and tricks, and I try to kind of compile ones that you might have not seen or weren't as popular but still useful to Monster Hunter Rise. And hopefully you enjoyed this content. And if you did, guys, make sure to subscribe down below and enjoy monster hunting, and have a good day, guys. Peace out.